The motor cortex is the region of the brain where movements can be triggered by electrical stimulation. It is not a single uniform strip. It actually encompasses several distinct functional areas. The first is the primary motor area, known as Brodmann Area 4, which is the main command center for voluntary movement. Sitting just in front of that is the premotor cortex, labeled Area 6, which helps plan and coordinate movements before they are executed. The supplementary motor cortex occupies the medial portion of Area 6 and is particularly involved in internally generated, self-initiated movements. Rounding out the motor cortex region is the primary sensory cortex, which covers areas 3, 1, and 2, receiving tactile and proprioceptive feedback from the body. Within the motor cortex, neurons are not scattered randomly. They are organized into precise vertical columns, and discrete groups of these columns are dedicated to controlling individual muscles. This columnar organization is a fundamental principle of cortical architecture. Movements that are planned in advance, or those triggered by sensory, visual, or auditory cues, follow a specific sequence of cortical activation. First, the prefrontal somatosensory, visual, or auditory cortices fire in preparation. Then, the motor cortex pyramidal cells discharge, and crucially, this motor cortex firing begins several milliseconds before the physical movement actually starts. This tells us that the brain commits to a movement slightly before the body executes it. Looking at the full lateral brain surface map, there are numerous functional zones worth understanding beyond just the motor areas. Area 8, sitting in the frontal lobe, governs frontal eye movements and pupillary changes, so voluntary gaze and pupil responses are coordinated here. Area 44, located in the inferior frontal region, is Broca's area, the brain's center for motor speech production. When this area is damaged, a person can understand language but struggles to produce fluent speech. Moving toward the parietal and temporal regions, areas 39 and 40 are association areas that integrate complex sensory information from multiple modalities. Areas 5 and 7 are sensory association areas, processing and interpreting body-related sensory input beyond simple touch. Areas 41 and 42 represent the primary and associative auditory cortices, receiving and processing sound information. In the occipital lobe, Area 17 is the principal visual cortex, also called the striate cortex, and serves as brain's main receiver of visual input. Areas 18 and 19 are the visual association areas, responsible for interpreting and giving meaning to what the eyes perceive. On Area 6, while it is labeled the premotor cortex, it is known as part of the extrapyramidal circuit. This means Area 6 contributes not only to direct voluntary movement, but also to the more automatic background motor control system that runs in parallel to the classical pyramidal pathway.